Hey kids, it's Lindsey Anderson, the #1 expert in helping coaches and consultants build their brand and monetize their services. Welcome to my YouTube channel. You know what to do. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you don't miss any of the videos that I release every single Tuesday and Thursday on this channel. I'm also extremely active in the comments, so pop down there and say hello. Today we're talking about podcasting as a guest. This is a really great place to start to get into the podcasting world, and there's a lot of benefits that go into it. And guess what? If you stay till the end of this video, I'll be giving you a few tips on how to actually get on other people's podcasts, because let me tell you a secret between you and me, it's not that hard. Although, I'll say this, I've been where you are, and I remember the first time I was interviewed on a podcast and I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy, and I made Ian listen to it and it was like this big deal. Come to find out, it's actually not that hard. A lot of people can do it, but there are so many benefits that go into podcasting. So, one thing, this is part of a 12-part series that I'm doing called the 12 Power Levers that will help you take your business to the next level. These 12 power levers I cover in my Build and Monetize Masters program because they will literally take your coaching and consulting business to the next level. And one of those, my friends, is podcasting. So like I said, this video is all about podcasting as a guest. Why would you want to do that? Well, number one, it's really easy. If you secure an interview on different people's podcasts, all you have to do is show up for 30 minutes, answer some questions about your expertise and authority, and then they do all the hard work. They edit it, they release it, and then you can take that amazing episode and you can promote that all across social media. You can put that on your website. You can do all the things. It's a super easy way of creating content. Authority and expertise building content, the best kind of content of all. All right? So probably one of the best reasons to be interviewed on other people's podcasts is that you can borrow from their audience. Now, I don't want you to be a snob, and you will not be on anyone's podcast that doesn't have 1 billion downloads. Guess what? I don't even want you to check that, because even if they have 5 people listening, and you come on and what you are talking about is topical and useful and helpful, you can definitely borrow someone else's audience. They are listening, they are running a podcast, and if you are on that podcast and you are displaying your expertise and authority in a really awesome way, you can definitely get some clients by utilizing someone else's podcast. In my opinion, it's the best kind of content than ads, because you are on a podcast for 30 minutes. You are displaying all of your knowledge for 30 minutes. And even if you can't make any kind of hard pitch for your services, you can totally make an impact on someone else's audience, and that audience can definitely come to you for your products and services. Next up is kind of technical, so bear with me, is backlinks. This is a search engine optimization term. You know, how to get your website to the top of the search engines. Well, typically when you're interviewed on someone else's podcast, they're gonna do show notes and they're gonna link back to you. This link is one of the #1 factors that will determine whose website makes it to #1 in search engines for specific keywords. So the more relevant, high value backlinks you have to your website, the better. So quite frankly, getting interviewed on podcasts is worth its weight in SEO gold. Ding! So here is a hidden little gem of an outcome that will happen when you're interviewed on other people's podcasts is relationship building. Okay? I have met Perry Marshall. I have met Joe Paluzzi, the godfather of content marketing. I have been able to talk to these 2 gentlemen and many, many others through podcasting, where if I were to walk up to them at Social Media Marketing World or wherever else, they would not give me the time of day, but all of a sudden, because I am a guest on their podcast or they're a guest on my podcast, I get 30 minutes with some of the best minds in the freaking industry. There is nothing that will open up doors quicker than hosting on a podcast. Now, if we take down, if we're not talking to, the superstars in your industry, but just connecting, meaningfully connecting with other people in your industry, being interviewed on podcasts, the relationships that are made, the clients that are referred, the opportunities that lie there after a 30-minute conversation, you providing content to them talking to you, are astronomical. Relationships are worth their weight in gold as we start to build and monetize our coaching and consulting businesses. So those are the 3 reasons why you need to start being a guest on other people's podcasts. I said if you stayed till the end of this video, I would tell you how freaking easy it is to get interviewed on podcasts. There are a billion podcasts in your industry. So step number 1, go out to iTunes and find all of the podcasts in your industry. Okay? There's a lot of them. Number 2, and maybe they're not in your industry, but they're talking about a topic that you would be suited for, okay? You're just gonna make a spreadsheet. Make it a Google Doc, because that's the cool thing to do. Number 2, you're gonna make yourself a one-sheet, which is essentially a piece of paper. It's a PDF, it has your face on it, it has Lindsey Anderson, your next great guest. Lindsey Anderson, blah, 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 blah. Here are the questions you can answer. Here's how you contact her. She's an author of a book. She's done all this thing. It's a one sheet. It's a one piece of paper on why you are awesome. You really need to make this because that sets you up for being an authority in their eyes. If just any old person, right? If my neighbor, who I'm pretty sure is not a coach or a consultant, walks up to a podcaster and they're like, I want to be on your podcast, but they don't prove that they are serious, then chances are lower that they would actually interview you. So you want to be able to present yourself as a professional. So a one sheet, very, very necessary. Go to Google one sheet. You'll see exactly what I'm saying. So then you're going to take these 2 things together, the list of podcasts and the one sheet. And you're basically going to go find their websites. And you're going to write a quick email that says, I listened to X episode. And you want to listen to the episode to make sure that they are a good fit for you. And you want to compliment them on a very specific episode that you listen to so they don't think you're just spamming everyone in the world to be on their podcast. You're going to say, I was wondering what the procedure was, or if you would consider, or if you could tell me the next steps to take on if there was an opportunity to be a guest on your podcast. So you want to compliment them, then you want to ask them without being forceful. You basically want to respect them and say, hey, what is the process for getting on your podcast? If you could direct me that way, that would be great. Or would you consider having me a guest on my podcast, on your podcast? I've included my one sheet for your review. Then, as you're interviewed on a billion podcasts, okay, you're going to start a page on your website as seen on, and you're going to put a link to all of these darn podcasts. And when you go out to get on bigger podcasts or more famous podcasts, then you're also going to include in that email, you can go and check out 2 or 3 examples of other podcasts I've been on. And that's it, my friends. You too can be interviewed on podcasts. It's not that hard. You can definitely get a VA to do it, and you should absolutely do it. I've given you a lot of good reasons right here in this video. So go check out the other videos in this section of the 12 power levers that will build and monetize your business, and I'll see you on the next video.